I've added some questions from the last time, but I'm going to go ahead and
Oh, well, I'm pretty excited for that.
I'm excited. I'm just excited. I'm excited to see you again.
I'm excited to see you again. It's so lovely to be talking again. Totally. Yeah, I enjoyed the previous interview.
Me too.
So cool.
Are we gonna have any guest appearance by your fiance today?
Oh, probably.
Yeah, because I was gonna wait to
hoping
to hit you with that later on in the video. I was gonna just randomly try to get a guest appearance, because
guest appearance that they are here, but I'm upstairs and they are downstairs doing some home stuff,
making noise and
some big dude stuff.
Excellent.
Something I shouldn't interfere with, apparently.
I'd like to see the project when it's all done, whatever it is.
I'll mention that. I'll run it past them.
Because if there's a tool belt involved, people want to know. So
never ending.
All right. Well, I think we are live now. So we are live in the main group. So we can say hello to everybody.
Oh yeah, perfect.
We might have 3 or 4 people watch.
That's fantastic. That's all right.
Facebook's not been putting the admin posts first. I don't know what they're thinking, but
that's all right.
Yeah, that's there's going to be a replay anyway. So let me introduce myself to people who might not know. My name is Daywalker. I created the group 13 years ago almost. It's coming up on its 13-year anniversary. I identify as Butch, Agender, hashtag bearded Butch, hey hippie, that works too. And my wife is preparing for her nap right now. She's in the background, but she can't hear a word because she's got her things in because she's on her YouTube or her TikTok or something. Anyway, and I am very excited to be sitting here with Norma, who I actually interviewed at one point a few months back, and Zoom blew out the recording, so nobody got to see it. So we're here to do a takeover. But this is good timing because your book, right? So
it is.
So if I could, I was going to have you introduce yourself, but first I wanted to kind of cover on the event page itself. It was. I wrote a little, just a short assessment, and I don't know if you got to it or read it.
I did. I loved it.
Did you? Yeah, hippie's busy when no one's looking. I was sneaking around behind the scenes doing stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Lost the tab on that one too. But the event tab itself went somewhere. I'll never find it. Everything just wants to paper lock as soon as I touch it. But I couldn't help but describe you like that, the way that I did, because
thank you so much. That was really, really, it touched me.
It's how I imagined. When I read the intro to the book, that is your cover photo currently.
Yes.
And I put that together with previous conversations and previous panels and whatnot over the years. I got this this imagery, and it came out in one paragraph, and so I'm just going to read it.
It was precise. It was very spot on.
This is a brilliant young mind equipped with a panoramic lens, a spirit that thrives on inclusion, and courage built from slivers of condemned curiosity.
That's right.
And that part right there is the part I imagined what it must have been like because of the areas that you hail from.
Absolutely.
So
that's right.
I'm going to hand you over right now and let you introduce yourself, let people know about you, and then I want you to talk real quick about Discover Me, the book.
Marvelous, thank you. My name is Norma. Norma Lily Moyo. Everybody calls me Norma or Lily, whichever works. I am in the Western Cape in South Africa. I identify as a stone femme, and my pronouns are she and her. Sometimes they and them. I'm not quite moved by that. And I am an author of the book Discover Me. I am a mom, a fiance to my amazing stone Butch. And I'd like to think of myself as an avid researcher who's driven by the utmost diverse curiosity. I'm very intrigued by the world. I'm intrigued by the psychology behind identities. I'm intrigued by just the whole scope of diversity and the collective that, you know, makes us who we are in our everyday lives. And that brings me to what prompted me to write the book, Discover Me. So Discover Me, which is out and available on Amazon. The link is on the Butch Femme group, on the main group. And people can inbox me as well and ask me about it if they're interested. It's available as an ebook at the moment, but we are working on the paperback as well. So the book talks about, it starts with a memoir of myself, just my story, which is about 40,000 words. Why I felt that it was very essential that I include the memoir, it's because I wanted to bring the feel that how one comes to discovery, you know, of oneself, who they are, and the root of it, that it is something that's relatable to everybody. It is something that's valid. How I was born, you know, how I grew up, how I struggled with my sexuality, how it came to me, the whole awareness and how I went on about it until I believed it, and just the whole thing that I feel like it's a journey that a whole lot of people have dealt with. And then it goes on to talk about my coming out of the closet. It comes to talk about relationships, family. It comes to talk about the topics that are like gender, you know, and I mentioned a whole lot of gender identities, transgender, bigender, you name it. I mentioned a lot of it, and I wrote it in a language that is easily understandable. The standard English, if I can put it that way, which right. I'm sure it sounds ridiculous for Americans because that's your first language. But I targeted, my main aim was, you know, to speak to people that are from all walks of life, people that have English as their second language and still be able to understand the basics of identity, gender, sexuality, sexual orientation, religion, you know, and issues that we all deal with in the LGBTQ community. So it is, it's got some really great topics, you know, included parents. I have topics like, I think my child is gay, what do I do? I have topics like coming out to a spouse. I have topics like how to deal with homophobia and, you know, all those really relatable everyday topics, and I'm hoping, you know, people will enjoy it, and the ones that have read the book have said they have been impacted in one way or another. So I'm pretty excited for new readers.
You know, you just mentioned something. You said coming out to your spouse, and I think that maybe that ends up having to be a good piece of advice for people out in parts of the world where arranged marriages might be common, yes, or convenience marriages might be common.
Oh, yes.
And where heterosexuality is absolutely the only choice you have. And
oh, absolutely.
Because when you said that, I thought, okay, because that's not something we would have put as a, you know, top 10 topic here in the U.S.
Not at all. It's very easy to, you know, just come out, but growing up in Africa, you know, identities and gender is just something that's not taught. It's not something that's spoken about. We are raised believing that, you know, we're created as a man or a woman. Everything is in sets. There's either this or the opposite of it. If there's that thing, then there's the opposite of it. There's never the in-betweens.
So they're blending and setting the borders of sexuality based on gender, which is, you know, just the opposite, because they're not connected.
So wrong.
And that is
so wrong.
yeah, it's just a huge issue. You know, like I've been telling you know, folks,
Absolutely.
you know, especially parents, you know, when you sit down to have a conversation with your children about gender, wait a few weeks to have one
Oh
on
yeah.
sexuality, because otherwise the two conversations are going to blend, and it is
You
going
can't
to.
link them together.
That's right. That's right. And so, but I do know that they're you know, now I don't know if now you came from a smaller town than what you live in now, and
Yes.
I think one of the things that I was reading that just made me kind of sit back for a second. It just sounded weird. Was in 1998 they legalized being gay in South Africa. Is that correct? I, I think just the
Yes.
term legalizing
More or
something
less.
you're naturally born with it. How can they legalize or not legalize? You know, it just kills me, right? So when I read that sentence, it just kind of made me pause for a minute because like, well, you legalized being gay. It just doesn't sit, you
Honestly,
know.
that's right. I mean, as much as I've legalized it at that time, I feel like it was just the formality, or just to get things in the clear scope. It
It's not
didn't
really being
change the way
enforced,
people
though.
lived. It didn't change people's outlook.
That's right.
Instead, it made it worse. It gave people a reason to fight against it, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it's a natural flow. People's sexuality is just something that is you're wired for from birth, you know. And now that doesn't mean that later on in life people don't become more fluid. People do actually become more fluid sometimes later on in life, which is
That's right.
it's a whole nother panel.
That's
But
right.
but but the is it and now I know that it says South Africa, but we know that there are separate areas where it's you might be okay over here, but you're definitely not okay to be out over here, you know, and it could be one town
Oh
to the
yeah,
next, and that can
that's
confuse
right.
folks who want to go and visit. Recently, I had a conversation this past week with a couple of folks who were excited to take a trip together out that way. And when they were talking to someone,
Yes.
they were told that they would have to just pretend they had husbands off somewhere else. And it,
Oh my
first of all, one of them
goodness.
looks super gay because they're butch. Okay. So, it wouldn't even look
Can't
right coming
hide
out of
it.
their mouth, but of course, with feminine visibility, one of them would get away with it.
I mean, yes.
But
Oh,
they decided to wait to decide because they thought, number one, I don't want to have to spend the whole time there lying about who I am. And then number
hi.
two, they started to think,
Exactly.
well, what areas are going to be. So, what do you have any recommendations and advice for folks who want to come visit South Africa? Or what areas to steer clear from, and what areas you would recommend they go to safely as people that fall beneath the rainbow canopy?
The best area that I would recommend, which is a very diverse, that's where I moved to as well when I was, going through my journey of coming out and research, is Cape Town, South Africa. Or rather in any region within the Western Cape. It's called the Western Cape. It's very gay friendly. Some people have called it the gay capital of Africa.
I did read that. Yeah.
We are actually in the Pride Month here, and we're having the biggest Pride parade on Saturday, this coming Saturday, in Cape Town. So it's pretty cool.
Make sure you post pictures
to see
for
things
us.
like this coming to life.
Yeah.
There will be pictures. I'm sure a couple of people you should encourage in the group, a couple of people that are in South Africa to, wish them a good day of Pride and have them send photos and their experience there. Definitely. So I'd recommend Cape Town.
For those who didn't know, I want people to know real quick. In the main group, that gives us the top 10 countries that make up the membership of the group. South Africa is number 2 on the list, behind the United States.
Oh yeah.
With over 1,000 members that hail from South Africa.
That's right.
So,
That's
so
right.
Saturday's Pride, huh? That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yes. No. The LGBTQ is very celebrated in Cape Town. They are a lot of us. There are a lot of queer family and just the whole, whole community. You don't have to hide who you are. A lot of businesses are run by people in the community. It's extremely inclusive. I lived there for like nearly 4 years and never had a problem. Actually, that's where I found a lot of myself and my sexuality there, because it's very heavily celebrated. They have a good number of gay bars, which is not common here in Africa. They have really cool, I'd say, gay events that they run every month, different ones. So yes, visit South Africa, visit Cape Town.
Good. All right. That's what I'm gonna tell them then. You know, in the description that I saw of Discover Me, the book,
yes,
you mentioned having escaped the lion's den, and I thought maybe you would describe, tell folks what that is for those who might not know what that term means.
Absolutely. So when I'm 27 years old. I'm very young. Yes.
Yes, I know.
So I came out when I was about. I think I started knowing around 12. Struggled with it. My mental health was just a mess back then, because I didn't know what it meant. And, I was in a boarding school, an all-girls Catholic school, a very strict, prestigious high school at the time. And, when girls are starting to talk about their boyfriends and, my match and all that, and it just didn't resonate with me. And, starting to like a female at the time and struggling so much with that. It was just something I wasn't ready to deal with until I was about 15, going to 16. So I came out to a best friend of mine. And by the end of the day, the whole school knew. And I was kicked out the very next morning because I was deemed Satanist. And by the next couple of days, I was in the local newspaper as, the kid that's been kicked out of high school because of satanic acts and, the likes. And it's something that I was living in a small town, and I can tell you that the small town gossip on a young teenager is just the most brutal thing that anybody can ever deal with. I struggled to understand what was wrong with me, that I started to believe that actually, what if I am satanic, And so my whole faith, my whole outlook on life was just so destroyed that by the next year, when I was about 17, I married a man who was like over 30 years older than me. Because he lived in another country. He was a traveler. He lived in Britain. He lived here in South Africa, so it was sort of my escape to getting away from things, to get a new exposure of life, run away from all the gossip, because I didn't even know who I was anymore. I didn't have friends anymore. Whenever I turned to this side of town, everybody's talking about me. And it was really, really sad. And I was married for about 3 years at the time. And I experienced, because my sexuality was so valid to me. I was a full-on lesbian woman, and I struggled to want to be touched. I didn't want to experience any physical touch whatsoever with, the men who had married me. And so that led to him going through a huge knock. He took a really huge knock, and he was very depressed because it broke down his confidence that I don't want him, and that led to a massive domestic violence. The whole, I think for a full year, it was insane. And until one day when I was thrown off the building by him. We had a daughter at the time who was just under 2 years old. and I was thrown off the building, and he was just going to kill everybody because it was the only way out. I couldn't be rejected. I didn't want him, and he just couldn't deal with it. But then I survived, and that was the last day that I ever saw him. And getting back home, I was in the Britain at the time, left there, came back to Zimbabwe, where I was my original hometown, where I was born. And finding out when I went to the doctor about a week after coming back, for a normal regular checkup, that I was pregnant, 12 weeks pregnant.
Wow.
And it killed me to know, because I knew exactly how it had happened, because I didn't want to be touched. It's something he took from me by force. Basically,
Exactly.
That was marital rape, if you may want to look at it that way. So I was heavily depressed. I dealt with accepting my child, accepting what was happening, and at the same time being afraid of the reminder of what had happened. So it was a crazy, terrible thing. Then coming back to that hometown again with all the talks, things like a failed marriage is a very big thing here.
Oh, yeah.
Like divorce is not welcomed as it is in the Western culture. The blame always goes to a woman to say, oh, you couldn't keep your man. You couldn't keep it home. It doesn't matter what he does.
Why couldn't you just suck it up?
Home. So exactly. Why? What led him to do that? What did you do? Right. And those are the things that were said to me. And so I decided, you know what? This is my truth. When my son was born, I looked at him and I said, from today, I am going to show you the world in truth. And that was the day I fully came out. That was like 6 years ago. I fully came out. I didn't care who's going to say what, who's going to think what. This is me. This is my life. This is who I love, and it's completely okay. So in the last 6 years, I've moved to better places. I've advanced in my life. I've traveled, gotten exposure, researched and talked to people. And that is the greatest thing that led me to write the book, because I found out that ignorance sometimes is because people don't know better. Right. It's easy for us to sit and blame and say, why can't you accept me? But they don't know any better. They don't know anything different. They were raised being taught of a certain particular thing.
And ignorance has really become a derogatory term when it's not always meant that way. It's meant just in its raw form. It's raw form, which just means you have not yet been informed. And
exactly.
That's right. Think that when but people use it and to aim it at people. The word, you ignorant. Nobody wants to be called ignorant. So.
No. But, not yet informed.
It's too bad that word
exactly
has had to stray from its original, because we're really that just all that means is that you're due for a gift of knowledge. So do yourself a favor, kind of thing. That's all it means. So you're
That's
ignorant
right.
in this. It just means you're just not informed. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And so I realized when I took the journey to now research and speak to people, find out if they know about identities, if they know, what's happening in the world of diversity. And I found out people here, a large capacity of people had no clue. They just didn't know. They wanted to learn better. They wanted to understand from the basics. I know that in the United States, it's very common, terms like transgender, terms like, just sexual orientation. It's not a thing here to so many people. You have to break it down to the basic, the foundation of their understanding. And that's what led me to write the book in a very, from the ground up, to say, what does it mean to be gay? What does it mean to be a woman who's attracted to women? What does it mean to be pansexual? What does it mean to be different?
Right.
What does it mean to not identify the same way as you do? And that is the only way that they get to understand, slowly building it up. You can't just come here and just throw them with big words like, oh, you're being homophobic.
Heteronormative.
You don't understand, I'm pansexual.
Yeah. and the courage, that's a born courage that you're carrying. And it was ignited
some
along the
guts.
way. But I feel like, it was there, but it was ignited by events. And that has brought you to be one of the only people that I know of that is out there spreading the word, as gospel, about categories that involve the terms and languages and whatnot, especially involving in our own community. And I know when I vet the profiles of folks from South Africa, there's a Butch Femme, younger. They're younger out there, this generation. And what I've noticed was that they have another layer. I noticed going to someone's profile, and the fluidity of Butch and Femme resides sometimes in one person. It will show them all sharp dressed and looking like a stud, and then a few pictures later, you see that they're actually embracing their more feminine side. And same person, different photo. True. Butch and Femme together, they have a fluidity about their never mind the dynamic itself, but there's a fluidity about them. And so I was intrigued by that extra layer, and what it means to the younger generation there. Because sometimes I wonder, with so many new identities that somebody can use and still fall beneath the canopy of the Butch Femme community. Butch and Femme isn't the first choices much anymore, and while that's okay, because the community itself, still is still the place to come with all these different plates with different identities. Our table doesn't have anything that looks alike on it. When you sit us all down, that is what sets us apart and makes us unique. It sets us apart from a mainstream L word community. It just sets us apart, and we're one of the most inclusive, I guess, of identities and dynamics that are unique to us. Like, we got Butch stud. We have trans folks and femmes. There's a lot of different dynamics.
Oh yeah.
Butch Femme still being the predominant. Like a couple like yourself. You guys are stunning, by the way. You're absolutely stunning. You guys are just a stunning couple. I just want to say that.
Thank you so much.
My wife thinks so too. She just coos over you guys. So, but that's why she keeps ribbing me to get on TikTok. She keeps going, Norma's on TikTok.
We love Lady Day.
You need to get on TikTok. I'm like, okay, I will. So
that's our playground.
Yeah. That's what she said. And she's forever walking by with her phone. She'll be walking by. She'll go, watch this. And she'll just show me something, I'm like, okay.
Watch this. You have to see this. You got to see this.
Right. Exactly. And then just one more. Oh, just one more. Just one. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
You might be, I don't like to say addicted, we'll say fascinated to an extreme. Yes. And I got to touch on this last time, and this actually it intersects with so much of everything, as your faith, and where how deeply that roots for you, and how deeply ingrained it is used against you at the same time in the systems, everything in the politics.
That's right.
And religion are everything that surrounds anybody under the rainbow canopy out there. They the hands that are all over the rules and the rulemaking are politics and religion. And talk about that. Right. Talk about that with me.
So first of all, I do have a segment in the book as well. The book Discover Me. It has a segment that says LGBTQIA++ and Christianity. It breaks down the whole Christian faith and, slashing away the whole idea of persecution, because we are in the LGBTQ community. I am Christian. Was raised Christian, born and raised, still am. It's Christianity is a very big thing here in Africa. It's the majority, I'd say, religion. It's the dominant religion. However, I'd like to think, or I believe, there's a difference between religion and faith. And that is something that people are not prepared to talk about. That is something that people still struggle to understand. And religion is very condemning. Religion is very persecuting. Religion is brutal.
It's dictating. It dictates.
Religion is dictating. Faith is what you believe and how it relates to you. How do you apply it to everyday life, and how do you understand it? What does it mean to you?
More
so
of a
my
spirituality.
Christian oh yeah, that's right. My understanding of my faith as a Christian woman is that the God of my understanding is a God of love. I believe I was created with love. I was made with love. I've been looked after my whole life with love. And that means I was known from the moment I was created that this is who I am. It only was a matter of my own understanding to understand my own identity at a particular time in my life. But I am loved, I am loved. However, a lot of people have this question to say, but the Bible says, there was the whole Sodom and Gomorrah, or man shall not lie with another man, or, the whole condemning part. But in Christianity, Jesus came to rectify all that. And it actually if you go back to the main and interpret and the original Bible back in the day, in 1860s or whatever, in the 1600s, you will find out that all the scriptures that are talking about the condemnation of man lying with another man, it was actually older men, married men, that were raping and having sexual acts with young boys, and that is what was condemned. And so there's a whole misinterpretation in that, and that is the main thing that people here throw at us to condemn us, to say, look at this chapter, look at the scripture, but they don't read the whole thing. They don't read to understand. They just pickpocket what they feel like is condemning.
Yes, exactly.
And to people that are actually watching or going to watch this, there is a story in the Bible that talks about a lady that had been caught, I'd say, prostituting or whatever. And back in the day, in the Bible times, they had to stone you if you do something like this. And what happens is they go ahead and ask Jesus, here's this woman that's been caught committing adultery. You stone him because this is what the law is saying, But Jesus then said, he who is without sin has to throw the first stone at them. And so what that signified for me is that Jesus is a God of zero condemnation. So no one has the right to tell someone that their identity or their outlook of life or what works for them is wrong if they feel like their relationship with Jesus is what works for them. Because at the end of the day, we are creating our own interpretations and we're using that to be judgmental towards others. So it's definitely 100% okay to be Christian and gay. If someone out there is Christian and feeling like they are afraid to be in touch with their sexuality, Jesus loves us as we are, and it's not something we can run away from, and it's not something that can be taken away from us.
It's certainly something that cannot be schooled or trained out of you either,
Not at all.
As many people try to correct it, it can't be corrected out of you,
oh yeah, it's gotta be in your hearts.
Yeah,
that's
it's interesting. The cast the first stone, you look at it a different way when you start applying it.
Oh yeah.
Forward to these years, and I feel like the just the information on the older men, younger boys thing, that must have followed right over to Catholics, because we all know what's going on over there. It carried itself forward.
Girl, you ain't about to tell us about that.
Oh my God. I'm like, okay, what did I just say? That okay. That was funny. Okay, see what I did there? But yeah, it feels
I
like
know.
it's still a thing. It's still a thing, and
It is.
it's just it's odd how
I mean,
so many
as
generations
as
ago
sad
it
as
was
it
a thing
sounds.
enough to write about.
Oh
You
yeah,
know, if it was a thing enough to write about stopping.
exactly.
You know, because nothing makes it that far in the rule books unless it's a thing. You know,
Not at all. That's
so
right. That's
um,
right.
the the work that you're doing to educate folks out there on terms and language on identity. Are there terms that differ that do not go universally across from continent to continent? Are there terms that y'all use out there that would be
No,
parallel to but
um,
different? Are they all the same?
not that I know of. It's just the understanding of those terms is what differs. Yeah, I'd say so. We definitely do have the same terms of identities. It's just what people believe, and you know, that's what become it's, things are more accepting and open and very you guys are very more aware than we are, so we always get bits and pieces of information here and there, and then we choose to believe what we believe. It's not something that's common. You either hear it from someone or someone educates you, or you know, you don't get it at all. You just see it walking around and you're like, whatever.
Are there
You know?
are there internet filters and limitations set up by the government out there?
Say that again.
Internet filters and limitations, like in North Korea, nobody can get online. You know what I mean? Are there any limitations the government instills
No,
that limits people to Google things?
not at all. No, that I know of. We are pretty much open to Google. Yeah, no, we 100% open to Google. So luckily, but then Google can mislead you sometimes.
Yeah, I was just gonna
because
say.
Google just gives
Well,
you what you searched for.
Yeah, let's not maybe put too much on that, but yeah.
Don't be out there believing everything that Google says.
Oh my! Some people use it for their actual personal doctor too. That cracks me up.
You go to Google with an itching finger and it tells you you're going to have to amputate your own finger because you have a parasite.
That rabbit hole can be trouble.
I know.
You've got a lot of tabs open. You get rabbit holes yourself. Every time I hit a rabbit hole, my tabs increase across the top of my window, you know, and
oh my
sometimes it doesn't do me any good sometimes, because when I'm looking at it, then I feel like I'm way behind. Like look at all the work I still have to do. I still have to read this, look at that, read this, contact that person, this person. So I've got all these. So I start pinning them, right? So because I'm worried my browser's going to close and I'm going to lose my place and I'm going to forget.
If it works.
Because, you know, I'm 56. My memory can be finicky. So you know.
I've experienced that quite a lot.
Plus the area I grew up in, you know, we've been consumers of the cannabis for quite some time, and legally now, of course. And in fact, the county that I'm in is part of what they call the Emerald Triangle, and the Emerald Triangle is 3 counties here in California, in Northern California, that together are the highest producing cannabis farms anywhere in the U.S. You know.
Wow.
That reminds me. I just want to give is one of our community members is actually represents natural hemp company, California grown.
That's so cool.
I always want to give them a shout out because they've been good to the community. And in addition, they've got a high art contest going on right now. So anybody who's watching,
I'd imagine so.
I posted onto the feed. The high art contest is open until March 20th, and their theme is music. Any media is good. Just submit it, and they'll pick the top 150 members. And when they do, they actually put your art on different packaging of theirs. So they'll put the art
That's
winners
so,
on their packaging.
so cool.
Super cool idea. But and then they'll announce the winners.
Wow.
Guess what? They announced the winners on 420. And 420 is a term used a lot for.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and it comes from the area I was born and raised in. Because 420 in the afternoon seemed to be about the right time to start partaking, and so we called it 420. And that spread worldwide. So enough about cannabis.
That makes sense.
So it's interesting though, yeah. So
Oh
yeah, I
goodness.
sometimes I'd love to see a big gay mass exodus for all those out in areas of this world
That would be so cool.
Yeah, so that are all those
that would be so cool.
that you
A
can't
bit of
be gay.
inclusion, yeah.
Yes. We want everybody who is trapped right now, especially the feeling of being trapped.
Yeah.
I want so bad to throw like little wormholes into their world so they can just be sucked right out and dropped into the middle of an area that completely and totally embraces them for who they are. And that's my wish for.
That would be the best thing.
You know, it's when we can do a sci-fi movie about it. Maybe it'll catch on. But we have a member from the Bahamas that speaks
anything
about,
is possible.
Yes, she speaks about from behind the Bahamas. Things are really tough there too, and as extremely, extremely controlled church and government together, and extremely tight on.
That doesn't sound like a good combination.
No, and in fact, this particular member of ours, her parents are they're well known in the church, they're kind of higher in influence, and it locked her down for quite some time into her 20s. And she survived a suicide attempt last year. And I'm going to get her on and interview her as well.
That's crazy.
I want people to know what things are like.
That is so ludicrous.
And where they, and she said, everybody puts on a smile because it's very tourist driven, the Bahamas. She says, so what you see is everybody puts on that smile. She says, but
they don't know the underlying
underneath
issues.
all that. It's a whole different world for them out there. And but I want to thank you for doing what you're doing, because again, the courage to do so, I'm
so glad.
It comes from a place. I'll tell you, it comes from a very special place. And I think I asked you last time. To me. I think I had asked last time. Is there anybody who's butch stud, masculine of center, out in your area who is taking up the same position for guidance and influence alongside of you out there? And I think you had said you didn't think so, and so that might be necessary, because out here we're having a problem because there hasn't been enough guidance from our elders in the community to the younger ones, and the younger ones instead are getting their influence from they're getting their influences from a lot of cisgender men, and just and it's leaking a lot of toxic masculinity right through the community. So I'm going to be working on a guidance panel of some elders that can, work with younger folks in the community, because they've already walked through life with their shoes untied, and maybe they could help. So
that's true. They're full of wisdom. I'd love something like that. I don't know. It's the younger generation is coming out more here. There's not much of the older generation that wants to be open about it.
Yeah, and there's the thing too, is we have to speak up, because when I was young, I didn't want to talk to somebody. I didn't want to talk to somebody my age about sexuality, but we have to speak up and say we're open to this, so that they know we have knowledge about it, instead of looking at us we just don't know a damn thing. I did have an intergenerational panel over a year ago, and it was interesting, because what come out was younger femmes had a huge complaint about the younger studs and whatnot. This was now out in like the Southern California area, which is like a whole nother world from Northern California, but all the same,
That's true.
there was a lot of folks. She said they all think they got to have many girls at the same time. They act like players, and they just got this really bad behavior. And she was upset by that, and she that was her complaint, and so we started actually opening up the conversation on that and rolling it into, hey, we need some mentors, so I think at the end of March I've got an intergenerational panel 2.0 coming up. So
I think that would be lovely. We do need that. I mean, I'd love to definitely watch the webinar. We do need that.
You're under age 30, so I may drag you in.
I'd be happy to.
Because
if my schedule is open, I'd totally be down to.
I separated it last time by my calls for panelists. I separated it for
now you want to bring it together.
Age 30 and under, and age 50 and up. And I realized there was a big gap in between, but I wanted to see what the conversations would be like between that big generation gap right there. Yeah. So thank you for doing the interview a second time for me. And the whole time it's got the little red light on up here that says it's recording to the cloud, so it won't disappear on me this time.
Oh, that's lovely. So we'll be able to upload it.
Yes, exactly. And
once beaten, twice shy.
And it's going to take a hippie minute because my laptop hates me, and I can't touch anything on the laptop while it's processing editing and stuff that I'm doing or uploading or anything.
That's
it takes so long because the computer's tired. So it'll get ready. Once I get my art
You've
up,
got it. You've got
my art, I can actually get me a new one and replace it, and then it won't be such an ordeal. But
that'd be lovely.
Yeah, Will.
You deserve it.
Yes. I gotta get my shit together on that. It's been tough finding time, but I'm now that I'm doing the sabbatical thing, kind of. I'm almost all the way there. I should have the time. I got somebody who's offered to cover the pieces for me in acrylic resin because I'm highly allergic. So.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what's happening right now. I got 40 pieces ready to go. They all need to be covered. So.
I know.
Yeah. Well, hey, where's your fiance?
Just.
Well, they're probably up there buried in things and trying to hide.
Give me a minute.
If they're watching it, we would all like to say hello.
Texting them to come upstairs.
There you go. They've been very
texting them right now.
Must be nice to have a phone that works. I dropped mine. I was out rock hunting and mine fell out of my pocket. Hit the rock. Hey, they come.
Hello.
There you are.
I'm actually busy watching you guys.
I was just gonna say that. I thought maybe if they're watching and they're listening to me go, hey, where are they? Look at you.
I'm right here,
So
supporting
beautiful.
From the distance.
Beautiful couple. That you
Thank
are.
you so much. Thank you so much.
You guys, look at the shine around you guys right now. There's just this big old shine. You guys are so giddy. Look at you all gooey. You're still gooey for each other. I love that.
We are. They haven't changed. It haven't changed.
That's awesome. My wife and I, we got 18 years. So basically we banter back and forth. That's our love. And rocks. I bring her rocks.
Man. You guys are just sweet. We look up to you guys, and you guys go like, "Oh, for us."
Yeah, well, she tolerates me. Come on now, we all know that.
She does.
I can be a lot.
Excuse me. I feel you. The streets are rough.
I'll tell you. Yeah,
it's nice to finally meet you.
If I can still make her have a belly laugh, I'm in there. Being able to make her laugh.
Totally a gentle guy, very sweet. I'm lucky.
Yeah. Look. Aw. All right, that's enough.
Yeah, that's my cue. That's my cue. It was nice meeting you, C-Day.
You too. Just call me Day. The C is there non-consensually. Facebook.
Cool Day.
But yeah, just Day.
Cool Day.
Just Day.
Cool.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
They'll get my paperwork soon with the name change. They'll have to change the damn thing on Facebook for me. So it was a pleasure to meet you too. I was intent on getting you on screen this time.
Oh, well.
With that, I'm gonna cut this off now and look at you guys. So and we're gonna I want to see if you. I wanted to mention audiobook would be cool if you did the voicing yourself.
Oh, that I'm definitely counting on that. It's something that I have in my cards. That's for sure.
I was mumbling on about that before you got on screen. I thought, wonder if there's going to be an audio. I think she should do it. You know, yes, definitely be spoken. Yep. So, all right. Much love to you.
Cool. And, much love, and my love to our awesome lady Day.
I will give it to her, and I am going to drag you in on other panels later. So, you know, just
fantastic. Get ready. Cool. Thank you.
All right, we're going to click it.
Awesome.
There we go.